I'm ready to go make sure the American people understand that they've been they've been Donald Trump's marks, and that he lied to them. And all of the people who have been gloating and taken their victory laps are about to have to defend an actual agenda. And that agenda is going to be awful. So, let's go make them own it. I'm ready.
Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friend, Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark. Sarah, this is the last show we will tape of the Biden era. And I can't tell if this feels like last days of disco or fall of Saigon. But it does feel like the end of something. And
American liberal democracy?
I mean, maybe not. Right? Maybe we'll just get gangster government at a level that we've never really thought was possible, right? I mean, maybe Don Jr. will wind up as a minority owner of TikTok 2 months from now. That would not strike me as out of the realm of possibility, right? But it does feel like it's the end of something, and it feels pretty ominous. Like this, the lights are going out across Europe tonight, and it'll be a long time before they're lit again, or whatever that line was at the beginning of World War I. Do you feel that sense of foreboding about a really dark chapter is about to unfold?
Yeah, look, it is really hard to say what's coming, and I've been working on a piece for a while now about what we do about it. And, obviously I've always sort of been partly on the analysis side. That's usually what we do over here. But I'm also always trying to figure out what to do about things. And for the last 8 years, I've had a pretty clear idea about what you do. And it's harder this time. Everything about this time is harder for a lot of reasons. I think, I was thinking about this. I taped with Evan Osnos, who's Biden's biographer, for the Focus Group pod, which will come out tomorrow. It's not going to people.
Did you go hard?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's a really good conversation because he knows Biden really well and has really good insight into who Biden is, and so I think that, I just think it's a great conversation. But if you're somebody who basically reflexively says, "Well, I can't cotton any," I broach no, any negative word about Joe Biden, you won't enjoy it. But if you want to hear somebody with a pretty good, deep psychological insight into Joe Biden, and then also, I'll tell you, the most interesting thing is that we get in the time machine and go back to 2020 and listen to swing voters and how they talked about Biden. And I love doing this. I love going back and hearing where people were at certain points in time. And one of the things that was interesting is that the swing voters were always so shallowly committed to Biden to begin with. So much of it was just steeped in nothing but a rejection of Donald Trump, not a love for Joe Biden. And anyway, without you should listen to it. I think it's a great kickoff to the season. But it is the last time of looking back. And, I think that Joe Biden, well, I started going down this road because I wanted to think about sort of Biden's 4 years and how much, it was clear he never wanted to say to people that he was going to be a one-term president, right? Because that's the implicit takeaway from listening to all the old sound. How many people were like, well, I might vote for him just because, he'll be one term and we'll get out of this Trump thing. And
right.
How much of a covenant voters took that as this guy's going to be a one-term president. And Evan, and I think a lot of other people have made this point, including probably you, which is, you can't say I'm a one-term president because you're automatically a lame duck. And when you're automatically a lame duck, right, you can't execute big vision, right? Because people are like, wow, what are you going to do in 4 years? And and they can't take you as seriously. And we've talked about Trump's lame duckness and what that does to him, and it's causing him to do sort of two things. One is he doesn't have the Joe Biden luxury, right, of being able to be like, well, I can stick around for 8 years potentially, right? Because everybody's like, no, you're term limited. There's that whole amendment in the Constitution. So he's got to find a way, as you point out, to sort of flirt with the idea that might not be true on one hand. On the other hand, for Trump, who has no big vision, right? For whom like staying out of jail and then potentially getting to go after the people who were messing with him, like beyond those things, and then like the fact that he finds it to be a treat for himself to throw his weight around, whether it be with tariffs or I'm going to buy Canada or Greenland or whatever. I think that's just personally fun for him and getting to hang around with other billionaires and exert his influence and control over the Republican Party and excommunicate people. All that stuff's fun for him, but he doesn't have, like Joe Biden overinterpreted his mandate and decided he wanted to be FDR, right? Transformational. Donald Trump probably has no vision for being transformational, but very easily could be transformational or not, right? Like he could be transformational in the sense that he turns the entire thing into a kleptocracy, or a kakistocracy or whatever. But even there, like if everybody's just transactional for 4 years, that's like kind of best case scenario, and not like it's scary because actually those things, like you think about the conversations about TikTok, Twitter, these platforms, like those are now political conversations. Those are about who controls the attention economy of Americans. And so it actually matters a great deal. And so like I actually see Donald Trump's goal as probably trying to figure out how he can exert influence over the long term, but not on policy side, but on the attention economy side, which is where Democrats really have been losing ground now for a long time. And so if Trump and all of his allies can use this 4 years to buy and hold the platforms and the things that Americans are listening to and watching, that can help Republicans for a long time if Democrats don't figure out how to, I'm writing a book or an article, or I don't know, or I'm just saying something on a podcast. But if I was going to write a book, the title of it would be, actually I'm between two titles. You can tell me what you think. One is From Cool Hand Luke, What We Have Here is a Failure to Communicate. And the other is Fight Like a Republican. But I don't necessarily like the second one because I'm not trying to encourage people to be like Republicans. I just want them to communicate effectively like Republicans do. So anyway, I guess that is a very long way of saying they could destroy American liberal democracy and America's place in the world and pull us out of NATO and do a lot of really, really dark things. Probably will do some of it because Trump may not be committed to an ideological project, but there's lots of people in his cabinet who are. But also it could be the lesser evil in it all is still pretty bad in the sense that they will find a way to entrench themselves using the federal government to make it very difficult for Democrats to compete. They will attempt to do that.
Right. It's Orbanism.
Yeah.
Right. The soft authoritarianism, taking control, putting key parts of society in control of people who are just objectively aligned with him.
Yeah.
Right. That's what Orban does. Right. And it's, this is what having Elon Musk own Twitter does. Having Mark Zuckerberg now aligned with Donald Trump while owning Facebook. Like that's a weird, again, can you imagine the outrage from the Barry Weisses of the world if Elon Musk was going to have an office? Imagine it's 2021 and Elon Musk owns Twitter and he's like, yeah, I'm going to have an office in the OEOB. I'm going to be working right there along. Can you imagine the frothing outrage at the censorship and how dare they? And Mark Zuckerberg, who's censoring everybody on Facebook, is going to the inauguration. And it is the rest of society throwing in with this moment, which I think is the most disconcerting. If there was still a sort of like resistancy, well, we'll have a march and, you know, like people are going to keep their distance from this guy because it could get really bad and he could be really embarrassing. I feel better about it. But the fact that everybody has embraced the transactionalism itself feels like we've moved to a different age. Because I think prior to this, like business leaders would have felt like like everything's transactional, but you can't be that transactional, right? Like there's transactional and then there's prostitution. Right? Yeah. Like it's a little, you know, there's a line and we can all tell what it is. And what they've done now with like Zuckerberg saying, we're going to move our content moderation operation to Texas. Like that's the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard. You know, like, and,
well, it's not crazy if it was happening just in the normal course of things. And
right.
It's the way
it'd be weird. It would only be weird in the normal course of things. It's crazy as part of this like charm offensive to make sure the president of the United States knows that you're explicitly on his side while you own a gigantic platform. Right. I don't know. Pam Bondi turns out to, I don't know if you saw this. She owns $3.9 million of Donald Trump stock. I myself own 2 shares. I didn't
know that.
Yeah.
Wait, was it worth that when she bought it? Like, did she buy? I believe it's worth now. Million?
I believe that's her current valuation. I heard it reported that this is like 1/3 of her total net worth is tied up in Donald Trump stock.
No way. Where is that stock now?
I don't know, but like,
and why don't people care about this?
The Attorney General has, again, a gigantic portion of her net worth bound up in owning the meme stock, which again, like is simply valueless as a company. You know, like the Bulwark is much bigger than Truth Social, just as a matter of like X's and O's and dollars and cents. And, and nobody even notices this because Pam Bondi is one of the good ones, right? Pam Bondi is we got a normal one.
Yeah, you know? Well, this is on this crazy sliding scale we use to talk about Trump's nominees.
And this is where, I mean, you and Tim and I talked a little bit about this. I mean, I got to be straight with you. I watched some of the Hegseth hearing. I watched tiny pieces of the Bondi hearing. I can't make myself do all these things. I just can't.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we're going to do it for 4 or more years. Like Sunday night, I'm going to have to sit and watch him at the MCI Center, which is no longer the MCI Center or whatever, in DC, holding a Kristallnacht rally in which I assume is going to be like Madison Square Garden times 1,000. And then 18 hours later, we're going to have to sit and listen to him standing on the steps of the Capitol, taking the oath of office, throwing shade at Joe Biden while Joe Biden sits there, smiling and taking it. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I take your, I mean, I don't think anybody has the like watching Trump take the oath of office and make a mockery of that particular oath in the Constitution. That's hard stuff for people who care. I think that these things actually matter. I tell you though.
Hey Sarah, there's more show.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Are we still talking? We have more talking?
We're still talking. The talking goes on. But that's only for the people who are inside the Velvet Rope, the Bulwark Plus members.
Oh, they got to subscribe.
Yeah. Tell them to subscribe. Tell the people,
you should subscribe,
Sarah.
Guys. Why wouldn't you subscribe? You get all kinds of things. You get some extra me and JVL. You get some extra me and George Conway. You get JVL's Triad. This is one of the best things the Bulwark offers. I read it at least once or twice a week.
Yes. Go and subscribe. We'd love to have you.